Alright, well, it looks like it's just you and me, guys, as nobody wants to join for the cast. Oh well. Gonna start ramping up a little bit in the next couple of days, trying to get rid of all the gold Cycle 4 matches before we start on Cycle 5, of course. Don't want to fall behind if we can avoid it. And therefore, second series of the day. It's going to be just me, as I said, unfortunately. Solo casting, as it seems like there isn't too much interest among my various buddies as to who wants to show up. Boar Beater's been killing it the last couple of days, but unavailable right now, apparently. Anyway, should have a good match here between Catman champions and Twisted Fusion. Twisted Fusion, a bit of a surprise this early on in the losers bracket. They lost actually in the round of 16, going up against Teletubbies, which was, again, a very, very surprising loss. As you really wouldn't have expected them to lose that series. Not only were they in Diamond in Cycle 3, but the Teletubbies guys actually went 0-4 in Cycle 3 and only stayed thanks to a forfeit win. So we'll have to hope for some better play out of Twisted Fusion this time, because if they don't bring it, they are out of Gold Cycle 4, and obviously they won't be demoted because it's the losers bracket round 2, but they would not be in a great position. Catman Champions, on the other hand, has actually put together a little bit better of a series. I believe that they won their round of 16 match. I don't have the bracket in front of me right now, but I can bring it up. And yeah, they beat, well, they got a forfeit win, I guess, over Frankers. And they played Wop Dash, and I guess that didn't go too well, and then they got pushed down here to the losers bracket. But anyway, should be a good game here between these two teams, and wouldn't be surprised to see some good stuff come out of Catman Champions, as they've picked up sort of a new player in, well, a couple of new players, I think, actually, in Time to Die and Marcus Moy. Time to Die, formerly in Twisted Fusion, so bit of a grudge match, I guess you could even say. Anyway, looks like we will have bans out, as I'm not sure why I'm delaying, because they're well through this picking and banning stage. Wretched Hag and Swiftblade, the first couple of heroes taken out by the Legion side, and Revenant and Ophelia being eliminated by the Hellborn team. So some surprising heroes, in fact, left on the board for both teams. Magmus not addressed even through the first 6 picks. Cthulhunt, the first selection for the Legion side, that's not a huge surprise, and we followed up by Silhouette, which is, as usual, just fine, and then into Bubbles and Tempest for Legion and Kraken and Rhapsody, lasting all the way to the 6th pick for the Hellborn team. Once again, Magmus still on the board. Would definitely make sense for the Hellborn team. I'm not sure if it would fit the Legion side so much at this point. They really are looking for a short laner and a support at this point, but even Hellborn perhaps may not be super interested in a Magmus. That would definitely work mid, and you could suicide the Kraken, or you could suicide the Magmus and mid the Kraken. So it would work with their team in terms of the laning phase. Magmus and Kraken, I'm not sure if it's my favorite thing. I guess it's fine, 2 line stuns, sorta, and then it's going to work well with Silhouette, I guess, with True Grapple, but I'm a bit on the fence as to whether or not I'd like it in this Hellborn draft, but regardless, it will be available, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it picked up, as it is just generally a very strong hero. Legion team going to ban out Balfagor, Gauntlet, and Plague Rider, so taking out Slot Please's Balfagor. Salomon is still on the board, and we've seen him run that hero pretty regularly, so wouldn't be shocked if he picked it up at some point. Puppet Master, Moon Queen, and Dark Lady going to be the bans for Slot Please, so targeting the unfulfilled role on the Legion side, which is, of course, that short lane carry. Hellborn picked theirs up their very first pick, and it looks like Legion will be waiting until their last pick to make their selection. I did say Magmus fits the Hellborn side, and it would fit the Hellborn Legion side a little bit as well. Of course, Bubbles and Magmus a very strong combo. Magmus and Tempest a strong combo. The problem is, as usual, the laning phase, and then the late game, as that would give them relatively little late game presence. They'd have to win early and easy, because Magmus really, as your sort of short laner, or Bubbles as your short laner, is not going to scale all that well. So I'd prefer to see them pick up a little bit more late game presence and a little bit less mid game slash short game, early game presence, because, you know, balance is usually what I would like to go for in a draft, and obviously Magmus wouldn't fit that theme. As far as options for that slot, Soul Stealer would definitely make a lot of sense, especially on top of a Tempest and Bubbles. Going to provide a lot of nice lockdown for potentially Zephranthe, or sorry, no, Marcus Moy actually is a carry player. It used to be Zephranthe, as he used to play a lot of Puppet Master, but he is not the captain anymore. But Aluna, 4th pick for the Hellborn side, and if you've watched my stream at all, you know that I hate that hero, so anyway, it's going to be terrible, and I'm going to be pointing out all of the problems that are doing it. Actually, you know what? I forgot to do this. Oops, sorry about it, but better do it now than later, and also better to do it now than forget entirely when stuff goes down. But waiting pretty long for the last pick on Legion's side, and they are not quite sure who they want to go for. It will be Doctor, which is, again, fine. Alright, Slot. Okay, let's address the Doctor first before we get into the Hellborn lineup, because, man, I have some really bad things to say about that. Doctor's fine. It's going to combo with the Glacius as well as the Tempest. They've got a lot of jump potential, especially if Cthulhu also picks up a Portal Key. So it's going to be really, really hard to catch and also evade this Legion team with all the potential they do have to lock you down and to follow you if you do manage to get away. On the other hand, I'm not sure Doctor fits super well within the confines of a Tempest Ultimate, and certainly not as well as something like a Soul Stealer would. So I don't know if Marcus Moy has too much experience playing the Soul Stealer, but I feel like if he does, then that would have been a much better pick. We've seen a lot more Soul Stealer recently, and it's done very, very well, so wouldn't mind at all if they managed to pick up that hero. Instead, they go for the Doctor, which again isn't bad selection at all. It's perhaps not what I would pick, but hey, they're allowed to make their own choices. But Slot, you're not allowed to make this choice. It's going to be the Rampage 5th pick, and I hate just about everything about that. Like, all of it, pretty much. I assume sort of it's going to be a Suicide Rampage. He's going to level Bash first, so maybe it'll be an aggro dual lane, maybe it'll be an aggro tri-lane even, as both supports are coming down here, so they do have that potential. I don't know if I've seen Rampage in a tri-lane before, and whether or not it even worked very well, because obviously Rampage, a hero that likes to get levels, even more than he likes to get farm. So I feel like tri-laning him would be a really, really bad decision, and I wouldn't mind seeing Rhapsody babysit that silhouette in the top lane anyway, so I guess Rampage Aluna lane is perhaps the best option they have. They're trying to, they're trying to be sneaky here, but Marcus Moy is going to see them. Like, I don't understand why they thought, oh, we'll be able to get out of here and catch that Doctor. Yeah, he's not level 6, but he's not stupid, so Hellborn side's gank squad are not going to be particularly effective here. They will ward the crap out of Tempest Jungle, I would expect. You're dropping one right here, and Aluna currently sitting on 2 Rev wards, so expect them to go down. Yep, there's one. Small camp likely to be blocked as well, and then Rhapsody probably going to save her last ward for... Nope. She just placed it. Where did she place it? Or did she give it to somebody? Oh, she gave it to Rampage. It's like, what? Just being dumb. It's fine. But that will be dropped here as well. So they're not going to have any Rune Vision. And I suppose they're going to be okay with that because they figure, oh, supports can control the runes and stuff like that. They do have the dual support advantage in terms of the runes, but obviously jungle is a little bit better overall, so not that big a deal. But Hellborn trying to pull, and Legion are like, you know what? You can pull, so can I. But now actually Doctor is dead. That was not a great choice. He's definitely screwed. And early Bloodlust right there for Salim, playing that Aluna, and he's definitely going to have a nice time thanks to that. Wouldn't be surprised if Marcus Moy gets relatively shut down in this lane as a result of the Bloodlust, and Rampage's relatively strong laning presence, but could also bring it back, of course. Don't want to write him off too early. Mid lane, meanwhile, is Bubbles in a 2v1 against Kraken and Rhapsody, and I don't particularly like this decision. Kraken, not the greatest dual lane hero, not only because he does like his levels a lot more, but also because he just isn't that strong in a dual lane. As like, he's stronger in a dual lane than he is in a solo lane, obviously, because so is every hero. But he's not so much stronger, I think, that it warrants using the second support as a babysitter. And you compare that to the top lane, where it's going to be Cthulhu versus Silhouette, and Cthulhu could very well win this lane because of how strong this hero is right now, and how Silhouette has some issues with her laning presence now that she has much shorter range. So if Cthulhu gets that mock on his face up relatively quickly, then Sil could have some problems in this top lane in terms of last hitting, as well as even staying alive potentially. How powerful Cthulhu is. Still going to deny a creep? No. Elephant will get the last hit. And regen situation, he only has 3 tangos, so definitely could be forcing a lot of regen out, especially because Silhouette does have 3 tangos and a health bot. But obviously, Elephant just won't take as much damage because he's got that damn shield in front of his face. Lenko 6 actually going the aggressive jungle here on the Tempest, obviously because his woods were completely blocked out, so nice decision to transition to this top lane, and here's where it becomes a bit of a problem. They've used all of their wards to try to block out and get sight of this Tempest, assuming that he was unwilling to leave his own jungle. Now they have absolutely no idea where he is, and this could be a very bad situation for him if they had a ward in their own woods, and if they were able to gank him, because Tempest does not aggro jungle very well. He has essentially no way to get out if these supports would roam on him. But they're not going to because they don't know where he is because they don't have any wards. And as a result, Lenko 6 should get just farm. Fine, just fine farm. Words are hard. 2-minute rune was top, I believe, yeah. And Kraken bottle. No, Rhapsody's got its double damage. Just picked it up. And did Rhapsody buy the bottle? No, maybe Kraken bought it. Just on Rhapsody and didn't give the share icon for some reason. Anyway, bottom lane. Actually, it looks like Marcus Moy could be in some trouble here again. Gonna take the health pop, but not gonna be enough. Freeze under the tower, and Glacius might regret that decision. Nope, they're not gonna dive him, as they realized pretty quickly that Rampage would be dead if they tried to do that. But yet another good kill from Twisted Fusion in this bottom lane, and Rampage not gonna be pretty low on health. No regen whatsoever on either him or Aluna. And he's gonna get frozen here and dead. Because for some reason he thought it was a good idea to stick around. I don't know why. Oh well. Not a great plan, but hey. Legion side are actually slightly up in experience. No huge surprise there, as they have the Tempest in the woods, and they're slightly down in gold again. No huge surprise there, as the Hellborn side has more kills and the Bloodlust. And now Luna's going to die, which is going to put Legion right back up in terms of gold. Last auto attack, yeah, we'll finish her off. Nice disjoint, actually. Health pot going through here as well, and Salim with the plays. He's still going to die. I'm pretty sure, yeah, there's really no way he's getting out of this. Last auto attack, yep, just barely enough. And as a result, he will be dead. Rampage going to charge through onto Glacius here, who has no mana. We'll see if he can actually get a kill out of this. It looks like he can. Glacius way too slow. Opposite charges come through. But here we have Marcus Moy looking to get a counter kill. And yep, Rampage going to die. So trades his life for a Doctor. Gets Doctor right back into this game. Now 310 gold per minute as a result of that third kill. So they were shutting this Doctor down really, really effectively, and now they're not anymore. Mid lane, Kraken actually going to try to charge onto Bubbles, but has a shell strike away, so he'll be just fine. And looks like the guys on Catman Champions are performing a little bit of early game magic. They're already up pretty significantly, as they've got about 2k experience. Not so much in the gold department, but they could be doing a lot better, especially considering the start that they got with the Bloodlust and the subsequent kill on Doctor after that. They were up 2-0, and since then have sort of fed a couple of kills. But Rampage is charging this Doctor once again. He's level 5, and he's got plenty of mana, so I don't think he's going to be able to... I don't think he's going to die here. There goes the Tundra Blast. Glacius has the freeze, and they can actually try to turn this around onto Rampage. Yeah, will they get it? Last auto attack from Glacius? Not going to be... Oh, wow, it is! That did a lot of damage. I was kind of surprised. And he used a health pot, so 100 gold essentially wasted right there. Now Dr. Repulsor is a little bit low, but he's going to need to take a health pot. No regen on anybody on this Legion side in the bot lane right now. They're going to have to be real careful about Rampage. He's coming back up, and he can come down and charge this Doctor if he wants, actually. We'll teleport to the bottom lane. Doctor going to back off and make sure that he doesn't eat a Rampage charge. Once he's level 6, he obviously won't be in too much danger, of course, as long as he keeps his mana up. But not quite hitting that mark yet, and Slop Please trying to stay back and bait the Doctor so he can get vision. But at this point, he's actually relatively tanky, and Glacius still has plenty of mana, so if they try to jump this once again, could be a problem. Rev Ward goes down. That will spot the Ward of Sight, but it's almost expired anyway, so they basically got all the utility they needed out of it. Freeze onto Rampage. We'll see if they try to turn this on the Hellborn side. They do not, which is definitely the good choice, because he probably would have died if they had gone particularly aggressive. And this Rampage, once again, I didn't like the pick before. I don't think it's a very useful hero right now. He's 180 GPM. And even after getting the first blood, has since basically thrown the lane. As now Doctor is the second highest farmer in the game behind the Kraken in the middle. And Rhapsody actually is here as well. I don't know if they know that she's here. Looks like they don't, because they're going to jump on top of Glacius, and Glacius is going to be dead. We'll see if they can get a counter kill onto Rampage. Yes, they can. Ends up being a 1-for-1, which is not only a good trade in general, but the Rhapsody rotation is what got them that kill. So it took them a rotation plus a death to get a kill on Glacius. And you have to consider that, as well as obviously the loss of Rampage right there. And in the top lane, that's Silhouette. Again, 290 gold per minute. This Cthulhu at 270 GPM, and they may be looking to push this top tower. Yeah, I think that's what Tempest is here for. Silhouette can have a bit of a trying time trying to, protect herself and not die in this top lane. Tempest not being particularly careful with his elementals, and he is being charged as well. You can see a little red buffer on him. So we'll see if they can turn this around with a kill. Tempest is level 6, has his ultimate, and has sufficient mana for his ultimate, so they know exactly what's going to happen right here. They have to line this up correctly if they don't want to get the Tempest hold on top of them. It will just be on Rampage. Actually, Silhouette walks back into it. Rampage going to die. Silhouette also going to get stunned out. She's level 6, but now she has to get away. Rhapsody coming in. We'll get the staccatos onto Tempest. They finally get the counter kill. Ends up being a 1-for-1. And here comes Bubbles looking to pick off the Silhouette. Won't find her there, but Kelpfield's available. One auto attack, especially with the DD rune. Pretty easy. Now Rhapsody gonna be in some trouble if she runs into Bubbles trying to juke. Not gonna happen. We see Kraken actually coming through here. Nice take cover. Will stop the charge, but not enough to stop the splash auto attack. And that'll be the death of Bubbles. So ends up being slightly in favor of the Hellborn side. And Cthulhu getting a little bit too ballsy, I would say. Rampage with the port and the charge. He's going to trample away, but I still think he could be in some trouble here, especially because Kraken is bottling up and getting his mana back. Aluna coming in from the side as well. Power throw connects, easy kill onto Time to Die. So definitely had the opportunity to get out there, and instead chose to play a little too manly. Stay in and take the death. Now, on the other hand, all 5 heroes for the Hellborn side were top, which means that Doctor and Glacius are free farming in the bottom lane. Nobody's mid, so not exactly taking the most efficient use of resources at this point. They're instead focusing on kills, and they're not ahead. They're only slightly behind in gold, but they're pretty significantly behind in experience at 2,500. And that's going to play a pretty significant factor, because you look at the Legion side, and it's a bunch of level-dependent heroes in Bubbles, Dr. Repulsor, Tempest, Cthulhu, even Glacius. They all want as many levels as they possibly can get. And you compare that to something like a Rhapsody, where really she wants 4 levels, and her first 2 spells. Arcane Hymn is nice, but it doesn't matter all that much, and then she just wants to level a Protected Melody because it basically lowers the cooldown. That's pretty much it. The extra couple of seconds of magic immunity and physical damage immunity are not that big a deal. And Aluna even, when she has her level 4 power throw, that's basically her maxed out. After that, it doesn't matter all that much. Silhouette level dependent, Kraken level dependent, and Rampage level dependent, but definitely experience is more valuable for this Legion side, so the fact that they're taking a lead here is going to benefit them pretty significantly. Tempest has rotated back to his own woods. He's currently sitting on a mana ring and red boots, and at 250 GPM, not the fastest farm in the game, but not the worst either, especially considering he was forced to rotate to the Hellborn jungle, which is particularly dangerous, of course. And in the top lane, Rampage is going to charge Cthulhu back, but I don't think there's going to be a kill at all. In fact, Cthulhu going to jump in. They realize pretty quickly that Silhouette is here by herself. They will get the kill. She also have helping to finish it off. Actually, no, it didn't even connect. They killed her before Bubbles came through. And this could possibly turn into a top tower push. Middle lane, actually, Ramate on the Glacius dies. And the benefit of solo casting is I can go back and look at this. So, Word of Sight obviously spotting him out here, but getting caught pretty easily by the Aluna power throw and stun. The last auto attack from Salim manages to pick off the kill. So, good catch. Obviously not as valuable as the Legion side killing the opposing team's carry. And Let Us Hope, aka Abraham. I'm not really sure how to pronounce, but player who is back to the competitive.
The Legion have destroyed a Hellborn tower.
2 towers go down in favor of the Legion in top and bottom. Looks like Hellborn will try to take the mid tier 1. And they should get it relatively easily. Stacked Hellborn medium camp being taken in the meantime.
A Legion tower.
And we're about 11 minutes into this game. I got the Legion have a pretty significant lead. And Convoy? No, they just have a bunch of illusions, so it makes me think there's way more heroes that are around here than there actually are. Hellborn have a pretty good lead. Now, Let Us Hope is only at 260 gold per minute. And it's basically Kraken right now who's leading the way in terms of GPM. This Rampage is doing mostly nothing. He's at 175 gold per minute, just barely ahead of this hard support Rhapsody. And Steam Boots, that's it. He's squishy, he's not useful in terms of experience, he's also suffering pretty hard, barely ahead of the Aluna, the 3rd worst in the game, again for a hero that likes to have as much experience as possible. I don't like to pick, and this is mostly why. I mean, Like, if Rampage gets going super hard, he's really, really difficult to stop. But there are a lot of snowball heroes like that are a lot better, like Dampier. If you take the start that Rampage has to have to snowball effectively, and you give it to a Dampier, you've also won the game, and you've probably won it a lot easier, because Dampier has got some late game carry potential. And Rampage doesn't so much. So, why? I mean, you give that start to Soul Stealer and you've won the game. You give that start to Dr. Repulsor and you've won the game. You give it to Kraken, you've won the game. Pebbles, you've won the game. Ravener, you've won the game. There's so many heroes that range from strength initiators to regular initiators to carries, all sorts of them. Anyway, they're going to be charged onto Glacius, so they probably will take her down here. Will they? Yep, actually they will, but here comes the cost. Aluna will be the first one to fall. Kelfield goes on the bus, and there's the Tempest ultimate. Rhapsody ultimate actually just out of range of them. She will be feared anyway. 2 already dead, and Rhapsody also going to fall. Invis rune on Kraken, very fortunate, otherwise he would have been dead too. And that's going to be not only a nicely won fight for the Legion side, but it will also be a tier 1 tower kill, it looks like. Kraken perhaps trying to get the deny on it, but he's actually taking some damage from the random AoE spells that are being thrown out. And he does not have a release the Kraken, with the fortification going off here, as well as Silhouette is just pushing in the top lane, realizing that she can't do too much about this, instead trying to get a counter kill on the top, and won't be able to quite do so. But Legion taking their 3rd tier 1 tower, and that'll bring them to a 5.5k gold lead, 6.5k experience lead, and things are pretty quickly spiraling out of control for the Legion, to the Hellborn team. As, I mean, the leads don't look that huge. The biggest problem is just, it's who's got them and who doesn't for the Hellborn team. If you switched Kraken and Silhouette's GPM, I think you could feel a lot better about the Hellborn side's chances, but 280 gold per minute on Silhouette just is not going to cut it. She's got 14 minutes in, she's got Ghost Marchers and a life tube, like, she needs to have at least a sustainer and be most of the way to her nullstone at this point. Instead, she's not going to have a nullstone for probably another 5 to 10 minutes at the optimistic point. Like, that's optimistic. I don't know. Anyway, bottom lane Rampage getting jumped again. Should be another quick and easy kill. Yep. As, once again, he just does not live very long, even with the Mystic Vestments. Icon of the Goddess was dropped by Marcus? Oh, he still gets the Gift of the Goddess buff, huh? Now he doesn't have to deal with the increased mana pool, which means that he can pick it up later and actually gets more regen. That's clever. I would always assume that the Gift of the Goddess buff only works when your icon is actually on you, but that's going to be an efficient use of his mana pool, obviously. For those who don't know, if you are mana potting up or using a health pot or something like that, if you drop strength items for, or just stat items in general, if you drop strength items for health potions and int items for mana potions, you will recover a larger percentage of your mana pool, because, anyway, top lane, actually, let's get into that in a second. We'll see if they can actually kill this Cthulhuphant. Release the Kraken goes through. Cthulhuphant does not have his charges on cooldown, and that's going to be a death as he was facing away from them, so the shield absorbing absolutely no damage. And they catch out time to die in a bit of a bad position, but again, it doesn't matter all that much. Middle lane, it's a fake Kraken, so not that big deal. Anyway, so for example, say you're using a health pot for 400 health, and you have 1200 total health with your strength item. If you drop that strength item and you go down to 1000 health, then you use the health pot and you get 400 health back, and then you pick the strength item back up, you also get the plus 200 health. So instead of it healing you 400, it effectively heals you for 600. And same thing goes with int items. So that's a good strat if you want to increase the efficiency of your potions and mana potion, or health potions and mana potions, is to drop items, stat items before you use them. Obviously that works best if you're not in combat, so I would recommend backing off a little bit and waiting for the pot to go through at least for a while before you do that, because then if you get jumped without the strength item, you'd probably rather have the base strength, which means that you'd have higher base health. Anywho, top tower is denied the Legion side, so tier 1 tower is just about evening up. Obviously the bot tier 1 is the only one that's left, but it's pretty well up there, so Legion don't need to worry about it too much, at least for this time being. Anyway, the bottom lane, Dr. Repulsor going to be jumped, but the Kraken charge going to miss, and now Doctor's just like, bye. And DD Rune on Kraken, he sort of wants to do something, but again, can he is the question. He does not have a release to Kraken, and now they suck in for a little bit too long. Kelfield going on to a couple. Dr. Repulsor is kiting this Rampage like crazy. Is he going to be able to kill him? Nope, he won't. And now Luna going to be in a lot of trouble as well. Jump forward from Dr. Repulsor, one more auto attack will finish her off, and actually it's going to be the Shell Surf that connects. So instead of getting a kill on the Doctor gets some really nice rotation from his team, gets 3 kills. Now they're going to turn this into a bot tier tower push. So at this point, Catman Champions just substantially outplaying the guys on Twisted Fusion, and this is sort of what I was worried about, because we didn't see something exactly like this in the first series from them versus Teletubbies. They were definitely a little bit more together than they are right now. At the same time, it just wasn't great.
Legion have destroyed
And
the Hellborn Tower.
I don't know. Not fantastic. Anyway. And they're taking now tripled Ancients, so that's going to swing things further in favor of the Legion team. And to be totally honest with you, I'm kind of feeling a CC vote at this point. I mean, you're down by 10k experience, 11.5k gold. I guess you want to stick in because this is a loser's bracket, so if you get knocked out here, you're gone. But I mean, Silhouette getting up to 340 GPM, she's having a much better time than she was even a few minutes ago. She'll have her Nullstone completed in a couple of minutes, but even with that, they don't really want to fight. Like, Nullstone's an okay item for fighting. It doesn't make you wholly passive, but at the same time, it's not really your real farming or fighting item. It's definitely another item that you use to get more items. It's in between. It's like, okay, I can fight if I need to. If something's being engaged on, I'm not completely useless. It's not like putting a Grimoire on Dr. Repulsor or something like that, which, okay, yeah, it does a little bit of damage, but, you know, it's really there for the farming. It's not really there for the fighting, and Silhouette wants to farm with her Nullstone. So is she going to be able to go up against this Doctor who's at 516 gold per minute, and the Tempest who's at 380, and the Cthulhu who's at 330, and the Bubbles who's at 310? I mean, they have 300 plus 300 plus GPM heroes on the Legion side. Just 2 on the Hellborn team. She's going to have no backup. Unless it's like massive misplays from the Legion team, I don't feel like they're going to do particularly well on the Hellborn side in these team fights. Their pickoff potential isn't as good either. You got Bubbles and Dr. Repulsor and Cthulhu on the Legion team, so lots of stuns, lots of long-range damage and initiation. Yeah, Hellborn have some getaways, and they have the Kraken charge. They have the Silhouette being impossible to kill. Rampage less so. But right now this is a 2v4, essentially, assuming that the sports don't mean anything and the Rampage doesn't mean anything. So what does Twisted Fusion do at this point? I mean, do they turtle up and try to out-farm their opponents? I guess. But it's not like Silhouette is guaranteed to beat a Doctor anyway. So if they take this late, do they win? I don't know, and I kind of think they don't. They got a Tempest on the Legion side, and no great cancel outside of the Kraken ultimate. And I guess the Rampage has a physical bash, so that would stop it as well, but he'll need a portal key, and he's currently working on a Shrunken Head, so he's not going to have that anytime soon, especially not with more than 200 gold per minute. But ends up being a tower trade, so looks like Sil actually does make a good play there. It took 4 heroes to kill the mid-tier 2 tower on the Legion side, and just 1 to kill the top tier 2 on the Hellborn team. Anytime you can trade when you're behind, you do want to do that, but the Legion side's lead is growing. And as long as it continues to do so, obviously it's going to get worse and worse for the Hellborn team, because that's not redundant at all. We'll see, though. I'm really not liking where Twisted Fusion is, and I really am liking where Catman Champions is at this point. In the bottom lane, they're definitely baiting out this Cthulhu, and it looks like Hellborn are going to take the bait. Here comes the Kraken charge. Bubbles and Glacius are nearby. Yep, they see this going through. Here comes Kraken. They don't really want to show themselves. Bubbles coming out of the back, actually gets 2 at the kill field, but not Rampage. And bait of the century. Immediate kill on the Rhapsody as well as Kraken, and now here goes Rampage as well. So 3 for nothing, and they fell for that hook, line, and sinker. So Cthulhu hook. Hook 'em, line, and sinker. That's good stuff. I'm sorry, Bubbles, that might be a little bit insensitive because you're a turtle, so. you might not feel comfortable about being hooked by things or something. I don't know. I assume turtles get hooked by stuff. But anyway, Cliff of Fortification be used here, as is necessary, considering that they're pushing Tier 3 towers right now. They don't even have a token, but it doesn't matter. I mean, this tower's getting wrecked. Looks like Rampage coming back up, and Kraken will be back up in a few seconds. Rampage charge going through onto the Dr. Repulsor. It looks like he's trying to get the ultimate off, but that's not going to happen. Release the Kraken on pretty much just them. Anyway, Tempest ultimate is going to be canceled because he did it right down the creek. Release Kraken. Doesn't matter. Both Rhapsody and Rampage going down. There goes, looks like Illumina as well. And looks like Kraken and Solo will survive. Buyback City here. 3 used on all heroes that died. And the only hero that's still on the Legion side is Linko 6 on the Tempest, but he already used his ultimate, so it doesn't really matter. And second engagement here, looks like it'll be a quick kill right off the bat onto Rampage. He's trying to get away. He has his ultimate going off, but it's not going to matter. He's going to fall yet again. Kraken trying to do something here. Opposite charges are going to catch him, and now he's screwed as well. Stun from Cthulhufin's not going to connect him to Luna, so she will be get away with the Deja Vu, but this is where we're at. With the Legion side is fighting against buybacks, and they're winning. So they killed the Hellborn team. The Hellborn team bought back, and the Legion side continued to fight. Doesn't matter. I mean, that icon on Dr. Repulsor is doing work. 32 charges. 32 charges. And they don't want to back off because I don't know. It's 24-11. You're down 20k gold, 25k experience. I guess strategize for the next game. It's the only thing I can think. Doesn't make a lot of sense to me why he'd still be in this. Patron's top, so we'll see if somebody decides to get that. Dr. Repulsor actually go for Ancients, despite the fact that he could wait and stack them, but in the top lane, they do get the KO onto Bubbles. And again, we can go back and check that out. As he gets the True Grapple off, and take cover really not doing very much. Needed to get the Shell Surf off before in order to do that, and Silhouette Illusion was sort of waiting for something, I guess, in case that was a bait as well. Last time they went for a kill on somebody who was farming by themselves, it turned out to be, oh look, Cthulhufin actually is not farming by himself, and we're going to wipe your entire team and take bot racks. As if they had killed Silhouette right there, she does not have a buyback. It says she's got one if you look at the tokens, but she only has 900 gold, and if she had died, she would have lost enough that she wouldn't have had buyback, so kind of an aggressive play there from Sil, but I mean, they do have to take chances at this point. If they want to stay in this game and try to come back, they cannot play passively. They have to use Rampage to try to open up something on the map, get some aggressive wards down, and let Silhouette farm in the woods while they continually gank with Kraken and Rampage, as well as the support from them. So the problem is it going to work? I mean, who are they going to kill? Cthulhufin? Probably not. He's way too tanky. 1800 health on top of vestments and a Helm of Black Legion, plus plated greaves. Portal Key, Power Supply, he's not going down. Dr. Repulsor has a massive amount of charges on his icon, and also has picked up a Nullstone and a Hellflower at this point. So he's not going to be dying too much, plus of course he's Doctor. Bubbles meanwhile has a Portal Key, Tempest has a Portal Key as well, so I guess they could kill him. He's got an Astrolabe and a Push Book though too, so if they don't lock him down effectively, he could also get away very possibly. You can kill the Glacius. We can pretty effectively kill the Glacius, I would say. Even with a Push Book, he's not particularly difficult to kill. But like, if that's where we're at, you know, you have to focus the Glacius. Not a good time. Still here looking for something on the Tempest, but again, Portal Key away, and he's just fine. Instead, still going to go in and try to farm the top lane. Has a DD runes, that'll help, of course. And she's at 416 GPM, so she's doing her damnedest. And will she be in trouble? No. Cthulhufin picked up a Barrier Idol as well. Not really sure why. A large majority of their damage on the Hellborn side is physical, and the Barrier Idol is basically going to do nothing. I'd much rather see a Bulwark on Cthulhufin at this point, even if it's defensive. But Marcus Moy at 10, 2, and 12. Bubbles at 4, 2, and 12. 6, 2, and 9 on this Cthulhufin. 1, 2, and 8 on Tempest, and 3, 4, and 8 on the Glacius. But that's not that big a deal when the rest of your team is owning as hard as they are on these hero kill scores. And again, it's 2, 11, and 7 on this Rampage. And I don't want to say that Rampage is the reason they're losing, but he's a pretty good reason why they're losing. They didn't have a strong suicide, which meant that
The Legion
they
have
put
destroyed.
and they decided to put 2 middle, which I think was also a mistake. Otherwise, Silhouette could have gotten off to a much better start with not having to worry about Cthulhu. They probably could have left Kraken middle. But the decision not to run a jungler, I think that hurt them. The decision to lane the way they did, which was about as far from optimal as you could have gotten. I think the only thing that would have been worse would have been a tri-lane with a Rampage. And pull back from ramp. They're going to try to do something like Cthulhu, but again, it's frickin' Cthulhu. He's going to put the Dream of Madness up and just leave. He will take some stuns as well. Kraken actually charging back into the middle. Well, Kraken will get put, but he charges out. And here goes the Barrier Idol now. Dr. Pulse going to be just fine. Immediate kill on Sextel. Nice ultimate from Tempest. Locking 4 heroes down. Rhapsody ultimate saving some damage, but the Kelp Field's there as well. Nice kill onto Illumina. There goes Rhapsody. And finally, let us hope on the Silhouette going to fall. Storm Spirit going to help lock down Kraken, and CC Focus is going to be called and goes through. So Melbourne side eventually realizing the inevitability of where that game was going and choose to CC it. So not a huge surprise, but Catman Champion is going to take a kind of surprising 1-0 lead in this game. And we'll see what they have for us in Game 2, but if it was anything like that, then they should be pretty optimistic about where things are going, because Twisted Fusion's not really looking like the team that we saw in earlier cycles. And is it because they had Archie Tiger and Time to Die before, both of whom were very strong players and helped them out a lot, and now they don't? Maybe. Probably. Just saying. Doesn't seem to be the same team without those guys. I think Time to Die in particular is a fantastic and underrated suicide player, and now they don't really have a great person for that role. I think Archie Tiger was a very good drafter, and he was helpful with that. And, well, I guess Slot was still doing a lot of the drafting, but I would imagine Archie Tiger had some input. He is drafting for Troutlet Boys now, so I can't imagine he was completely silent during the draft, but I don't know. This new iteration of Twisted Fusion is kind of disappointing, so we'll see what they have for us in Game 2. They're going to try to survive, of course, and, you know, for the sake of a Game 3, I kind of hope they do, but we'll be right back in a second, guys. Stick around.